Well, the Punjab team has been on the wrong side of heist many, many times. Yeah, they've been the bank. They've not been the thieves. Today, well, they were on the right side of the heist. They were the thieves today. They've stolen it. 125 is what they put on the board. And Hyderabad with Jason Holder batting towards the end looked like they may get there, but nope. This heist, well, this has been Punjab's. They have won by 5 runs. You should see them celebrating in the end. It really meant something to them. It meant something to them after that last loss against Rajasthan. You could tell that this was special. Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11th Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Pommie, Mbangwa, and Shaun, Pollock. Pommie, that meant something to them. You could tell.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, as you say, being on the wrong side of scenarios where they should win a game and then suddenly they're on the other side and it gets close and it shouldn't ever have. And then being the ones that have kind of driven the bus for so long, they end up on the pavement as the bus speeds off. It's like, well, what's going on there? Normally that's them, right? And this time around, they kind of have turned up, and with just 125 on the board, you sit there, you say, that how do you defend that? You're not going to defend. Teams can play very poorly and they'll get more than 125. Nope, not to be. They bowled well enough to stay in the game and in the end to actually win the game. Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't look at that and say you've had a spectacle of the game, and it's been, it's kind of been very hard watching, actually, if we're to be perfectly honest.
True, it has been. Shaun, 2 questions. First one, of course, where has Pommie been driving that these buses are climbing onto pavements? That's one. And the second question is, Hyderabad's going to be looking and saying 8 losses out of the first 9 games. Geez, what do we have to do to win again?
Yeah, well, some of the bus driving that happens in South Africa with me and Pommie
can be
Pollock.
But
what I'd say about their performance, Sunrisers,
just upset. You both are just upset that your team didn't park the bus today, right? Oh, I did it again. Did 2 United jokes on one evening. I'm making it harder. I'm making this Saturday very hard for the 2 of you. Harder than these teams made it today. And harder than, well, as Shaun, as you were saying about Hyderabad. Jeez. I mean, this should have been their game.
It is. And it's hard for the coaching staff to say anything because you live in that environment. It's supposed to be a bit of a family environment. And it's difficult to have a go at players at times. But there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Bayliss is supposed to be a fantastic guy. I haven't had much to deal with him, but for interviews that we've done with him on the TV. And everyone loves him and talks about what a great coach he is. But what is the players actually doing in order to try and help them perform? You have a relaxed environment. You give them everything they sort of require. But at some stage, they're getting paid good money. They've got to start producing the goods. And I feel for them. I feel for them in their environment, the coaching staff, because I know Tom Moody well. I know VVS, and Murray will be trying his best. He'll be coming up with plenty of ideas of how they can or can't perform. But you just got to have a look at the players. I mean, they've got Rashid Khan. Wherever he goes, he's MVP. He's probably the best T20 player that goes around from a bowling perspective, for sure. To have lost 7, 8? How many have they lost?
8 out of their 9. And actually, let me ask you this question, Polly, and both of you, they've got a great coaching staff, right? Obviously, great pedigree there. Trevor Bayliss, Tom Moody, VVS Lakshman, Muralidharan. It's great pedigree. You look at this Hyderabad batting lineup now and see what they've done, chasing what was a runner ball, right? You've had to have Jason Holder come in and do these heroics and these fireworks, right? What is he? He's 47 of 29 by the end of it. And you think 47 of 29, how has that not ended up on the winning side? Even if they were chasing 150, they were chasing 125. Right. And he has, he's bowled well. He's just man of the match irrespective. Right. But if you look at the batting card for Hyderabad, let's look at that. Right. You had that unfortunate. I think the only blemish on Holder's game today was that mix up with Saha, which was actually Saha's call. So not as much as Holder's. But when you look at that, Polly, who are you calling out from there? Who would you have a harsh word with if you were part of that coaching staff?
Well, I mean, even from the top, I mean, David Warner, as we talked about how he was out the side, he comes back in. I mean, you can get into bad form. Manish Pandya, probably in the situation, he tried to try and regroup. But I think Kedar Yadav, I mean, over all these years, he gets a decent salary to come out and play. And, I mean, we really are still asking, when is his performance coming, to justify a continual selection in the side. I mean, it's difficult to pick out one individual, but it's a space over those 8 games. I mean, surely people need to be producing a little bit more than what we've seen. Because you also have guys there, your Warners, your Williamsons, they're a team that's been in the running over the years. It's not like they've always been the whipping boys. They've been in the finals. They've played some
2016.
Yeah, champions. And they've played some unbelievable cricket not so long ago. So, yeah, I think you've got to feel that the players have let the coaching staff down.
Pommie, for you?
You can't get away from that.
Yeah, look, I mean, quite obviously today was a difficult strike rate day for batsmen. But having seen that that's the problem, having seen that the issue for batting generally was that you're going to struggle to get the ball away. At a runner ball, I don't think these days, I don't think sides are put under too much pressure. So you can't be too far below that if you're going to try and chase the score down. And number 2, you also know that you've got your bowlers under pressure because, to go at less than 6 and over, it's going to be pretty difficult generally. Even if the conditions are quite good, it's going to be, difficult to do that as a whole collective, as a bowling group. So you expect that batters would go out there and at the very least ensure that they're, batting at that rate, 5 and over, 4 and over, 5 and over, 6 and over. That's what you expect. So no chewing up of balls, sweeps, all sorts of stuff that would occur. And I just thought after losing the couple of wickets early, they weren't proactive enough. They thought it was a case of rebuild. But if you rebuild, what you do essentially is you kind of fall into the hands of your opposition who don't have a lot of runs. And so you're lifting that, that scoring rate required for your opposition. And then from there, it's difficult. It's hit or miss, because when you try and go, now the conditions come into it. It's a slow surface. And more often than not, as happened in the innings before, those who try to hit it out the ground, hit it up in the air and they get out, then panic sets in. In a middle order that's already had its issues over the years, it's as if it's a character trait of the side that once they lose the top, the middle struggles. So yeah. Tough day.
We were talking about this, Polly. I think in the com box we were talking about this, that you have to get a runner ball. Basically, you just keep going, and that somebody will come in and get you that strike rate, right? And Holder came and did that. We were saying that, there's always one player who will get a couple of sixes away, and that'll just change the equation completely. But Holder didn't get that support from the other end. When I look down that thing, I'm looking at Pandey going 13 of 23. 13 of 23 for, who's I think their most or their second most expensive batsman. One of their most experienced batters, the first batter ever to get 100 in this tournament. You look at that and you're saying, they need better from him for sure.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the thing was, as Pom said, they let the asking rate get to, what was it? I want to say they needed 80 when we came. 80 odd, yeah, 80 odd and 10 overs, and they'd only got 40. So you had to go double that scoring rate and not lose too many wickets. You'd really lost 3. And you've got some experienced campaigners in there. Manish Pandey's played a lot of T20 cricket. The 2 wickets that they got up front were massive. I mean, Williamson and Warner are the kind of guys who set the tone and run well between the wickets and keep things ticking over. So once those 2 were back in the dressing room, it was always a chance. And credit must go to the bowling department. I mean, Shami was brilliant. The Bishnoi back into the mix. I thought he was superb. He had to fill the shoes of Adil Rashid, who was left out after the one game. Even the youngster who comes in did a decent job, although he got a bit of tap from Jason Holder. Adeep was good again. So credit goes to them on that surface. I think they bowled exactly what they needed to do. But you would think by now you've sort of got to work out a game plan, and an intensity to know, listen, hey, I need to really be getting stuck in you, make sure I don't throw my wicket away, but how can I run it around? How can we pick up singles? Not great.
Let's talk about Bishnoi. Of course, it's so strange to think that Bishnoi doesn't make this 11 like one of the first few names you write. Like, he just gets left out so much. And today you can tell how hungry he was. There you go, the Bishnoi factor. Without Bishnoi, they've played 5 games with him. They've played 19. He brings that. So there's a few things he brings in, right? Of course, as a bowler today, gave a run a ball in his 4 overs and picked up 3 wickets, and important wickets too. So that's when the strikes came. I just want to take you guys back to something that has happened, I think, in the first over, right? Which may just be a real game changer. Bishnoi saved a certain 4 overthrows. Right? There was a poor run throw, which was wild, right?
It was hard, it was fast. Yeah, and he came running and dived across the square and stopped it. I remember, I saw that. And
that was a sure 4 that he saved. This would have been a tight game.
And I tell you what it showed actually at that stage. It just showed his focus. He was right on, because I think there was an appeal for LBW, and it might have been then a scampered like single or whatever it was, and someone throws the ball at the stumps, and he runs in from wherever he is and ends up diving across. And if he, as you say, it was sure 4 runs if he hadn't, if he hadn't been there. And I think he was just on and focused on the day. And you get that
run out. The Saha run out was also him. He came running to the stumps.
Correct. And a guy, and I mean, he's shown this many a time when he's played and he's been in there. He took that wonderful catch that he ran 30 yards and dived and took the catch. It's one of those special catches in the tournament. But he gives 100% all of the time. And coming in this time, you guys have been on about point to prove and so forth. Gets a chance and I'm going to do something again. He generally does, and it was great to see. I mean, and with his bowling right on the mark, conditions allow, and he can spin it, and so he spins it. Albeit more googlies than anything else.
I got to say though, with you always say that the going gets tough, the tough get going, and come at the hour, come at the man. When you have 125 to defend, you want your most experienced bowler to take the lead. In this case, of course, Mohammad Shami. And geez, Shami could not have given it's like, you can't give, it's a Christmas present to your captain and your coach and your entire team to do what he did today. Just the lengths, Polly, that he was bowling, just the questions he was asking. He was just in such fine rhythm, on the money.
Yeah, that's the exact word. 17 dot balls and 2 of the wickets, but those aren't just any wickets, those are the big wickets. And it is I've come to realize with him, sometimes, watch him in test cricket or one-day cricket and you watch him come into the crease, you can often tell when he's in good rhythm, and he looked in really good rhythm today. He looked like he was attacking that crease. He got his momentum going, and he bowled superbly. And on a surface that if you can hit back of a length and bowl nice and straight, you're not going to give them many scoring opportunities. He did exactly that, plus picking up those 2 wickets, 1 edge and 1 chop on. So you can't ask for more than your senior pro from the bowling department to show the way for the rest of the team, set the tone, pick up the 2 wickets, and even there's death over. I mean, I know sometimes it can be hard when you've done 3 brilliant overs up front. You got to hold one for the back end, and you're not too sure how you're going to go. Even that over was good.
He's you could tell how badly Punjab wanted it, because there was one that went down to, I think, was it short third man, and Gale was there, and Gale was scampering to stop it. I've not seen him scamper like this in years. It was like, my life depends on this one run. You like this. There was something special that you saw from the Punjab team in the field, at least right towards the end. That over from Arshdeep as well. They did some special stuff. Okay, so we'll run this game. I'll show you the summary real quick. 125 is what Punjab scored. Remember Kane Williamson won the toss and put Punjab into bat in Sharjah. Different surface from yesterday. Flattered to deceive. You thought that it had some sheen on it. It might give you some runs. It didn't. It gave you just 125, but turned out to be more than just 125. Turned out to be enough. 125, and Hyderabad falling 5 runs short and staying firmly at the bottom of the table. 8 losses out of 9 for them now, and for Punjab, things looking just a little better. Just a little better now. We'll just show you the points table and see how that kind of lands up after today's 2 games, because remember, Delhi won the earlier game today and went to the top of the table. They beat Rajasthan there. And Hyderabad now having lost to Punjab. So which means that now that mid-table muddle, that's looking delicious. It's looking bellissimo. Kolkata, Punjab, Mumbai, Rajasthan, all of them. Punjab having played one more game though, so they are behind everybody else. But 2 of those teams are playing some of those teams will be playing each other, so therefore may not be that bad and may just level out in the end. But very difficult right now, Pommie. If I asked you to call and say, we'll bring the points table up again, because Bangalore again, tough game for them tomorrow. But if you were to pick, because they're all kind of there and thereabouts, Bangalore, Calcutta, Punjab, Mumbai, Rajasthan. If I asked you to pick 2 out of those 5 to qualify, tough question.
Yeah, it would be a tough call, wouldn't it? If you kind of looked and said traditionally which way would you go, I think you'd probably say Mumbai will be one of those sides, and then the other would be between Bangalore and Kolkata. If I went with form, I'd say, Kolkata look okay, and they're going to play a 3rd game at Abu Dhabi, and they've generally been going well there. Some will say, oh, well, they drew a loss. But, they've enjoyed the conditions, and they seem to be doing well. So they'll be okay. But all that does for them is it means that they kind of catch up. They just stay 4th, basically. It's a tough one. It's a difficult one to get which the 2 are outside of the 2 that are at the top, CSK and Delhi.
It's great. It's great. That's what we want from this tournament, and that's what we're getting. Give you a quick recap of the first game. Remember, it is Super Saturday today. It's a big weekend, 4 games. So we've got 2 today. The first one, of course, was Delhi and Rajasthan. Delhi batting first, got 154 on the board. Didn't think that would be enough. They managed to defend it as well. So good defending day today. And Rajasthan, one-man show, Sanju Samson, 17 not out of 53. And the rest of the team could barely put together 51 runs altogether. So Delhi winning that game by 33 runs. And of course, the second one, we were thinking that it was a bit snoozy, but it gave us a good finish in the end. So we've had to wait, close to 80 overs, but in the end, we got our dose of excitement. Yes, Polly, and that's all that matters. It's in the end. It's the last course that you eat that leaves the taste in your mouth, isn't it?
Yeah, low-scoring games. You've got 3 teams that couldn't even get over 125 out of the 4 that batted today. So not what you'd normally expect from a T20 competition.
Nice data crunching, Polly Kaka.
But maybe Super Sunday, Sizzling Sunday will be the 2 contests that take it to the next level, because we've got a game between the 2 informed guys after the reschedule and the restart. You've got that Kolkata versus Chennai, both 1-2 out of 2, so they're on flying high. And then your Mumbai and your Bangalore games, both of them looking to get back on track, because they've both been pretty disappointing just before the break and just after. And those are 2 big teams. So, let's hope that the scoring rates tomorrow on Sunday will be a little bit better.
It's a good summation of the clashes tomorrow, because there are 2 teams, you're right, who are on song, and there are 2 teams that look just slightly derailed, right? And what's going to happen is that the 2 teams that are on song, one of them is going to be stopped tomorrow, and then the derailed teams, one of them was going to, feel like they're back on the rails again. So it's quite interesting how Sunday is going to play out, even contextually. But let's have a look at the first game first. Let's just preview the first game first. We could have even previewed the second game first, because I make the rules here, but we'll just stick traditional. Chennai and Kolkata, match 38 from Abu Dhabi. That's happening tomorrow. Let's have a look at the teams first. And Chennai, will they make any changes? No. Let's move on to Kolkata. And How many do they make? Zero? Anybody? Zero? Anybody? You're not getting. No one's coming in. No one's going out. No one's coming in. Right? Right, gents? Do we agree on that? Do we just move on? It's been a long day.
Yeah, they've got a pretty settled side, and that's what they look to do. I wonder if they might. And I mean, Hazelwood's going okay. They'll be happy with him. Bravo, they like him. Gives them options.
He was brilliant.
Yeah, look. Yeah.
And Faf and Moeen Ali. So
I think they're generally quite happy with that, and they'll go with that, and they'll only change if they have to change. If it blatantly says you need to change your strategy and therefore your personnel don't quite fit, then they'll change it. But otherwise, they'll stay because it's balanced, lots of all-rounders, and then you've got the specialists, and it's fine.
But that's the thing. MS in that 11 tends to pick players who are good for every strategy. So even if the strategy of the surface changes, he seems to somehow find them in the 11 to do that. A worry for them, Polly, definitely is Suresh Raina's form.
Yeah, I think that they want him to play a little bit. I mean, he started off pretty well, but that was more in the Indian kind of conditions. So they need him to get going again. We've seen what a big player, when we talk about all the guys who've got over 400 runs, he's one of those left-handers who's done so brilliantly for them. He's back in the mix, missed last year. So I think they would be keen for him to get going. I think also Dhoni would love to, have a 30 or 40 at the bottom of the order where he really shows his skills once again, just to settle him down. But I think they're in a good space. They've basically qualified. They've got 3 or 4 games where they can try and continue to play good cricket and get guys into form before the knockout. So I don't think there'll be any worries. They're not a kind of camp that likes to change, as you mentioned, but they're also not a camp who likes to worry too much, create too many issues. So I think just those 2 guys would love to have a little performance.
Let's have a look at the Kolkata team. Any changes you see here? Don't think so, right? I mean, look at the change that they made getting young Venki Iyer in, and he's been on fire. Geez, look at him.
Yeah, what I've liked about them is just their approach. They've seemed more certain in terms of their aggression, whereas before you kind of had a feeling that they weren't entirely sure. Even a Shubman Gill, who is so stylish and is so correct, was kind of caught in between before. Does he go or does he not go? And seeing him play here in Abu Dhabi, he's just felt, well, I can play these shots and I will play them, and off I go. A statement made in the pavilion, in chit-chatting and watching all these games, as someone said, it's so much more difficult to play for yourself because of the pressure that lies there than it is to play for the team. So if you're playing for yourself and you're trying to be aggressive, there is a certain caution you take, because if you get out, nobody's backing you. But if you're playing for just the team and the team way is to be aggressive, then a free mind and away you go and you go at it. But an error in execution of a correct method is fine, and it's accepted, and it's part of what the team wants. And so it's fine. So you go at it, right? And such is life. You're going to get out. And if you got kids, you got youngsters who like to play the game, they have to understand early on, if they're playing 2020s, that you're going to get out. But that just comes with it. If you're going to try and hit 6s and 4s, well, you're going to miss some if you don't watch it. You're going to hit it in the air. Someone's going to catch it. But it shouldn't stop you from actually trying to hit it and hit it well. And if you do it correctly, you'll be fine,
Pom, tomorrow's would be a used surface, right?
Sorry, say that again.
I said tomorrow's game will be on a used surface, probably the same one used today.
It might well be, Shaun, but the square is quite big. So on any given day, you're not sure if we're going back to one from a while ago, if they'll kind of give us a new one. You don't know that. So yeah.
Usually they do. If there's been a game on day 1, the next day they usually try to change the surface. If it's just the next day. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually they do. Sorry, Shaun, you were saying?
But
I
today
just say
having
influencing
had
the selection
an
of
afternoon
Kolkata.
game. Yeah, so I mean, if today has been an afternoon game, which could suggest that post the game, and I know it's like it finishes 6-ish, it allows them to spray and roll and then do it again tomorrow. Before the game, and tomorrow's is an afternoon game again in Abu Dhabi. So I expect it probably will be a new one. They'd have had 2 ready to go, and they'll just fix the new one up, and away we go. New being not yesterday, not today's. It might be from a couple of games ago.
Fresher, a slightly fresher one, not reuse and recycle the one from today, but a fresher one from maybe a couple of days ago. But for Kolkata, I think the only area of concern is, so with the good, it's 2 sides to every coin, right? Because their top order has been doing so well, there's not been much game time for Dinesh Karthik and Russell and Morgan, and they'd want to see that middle order get some runs as well. But I mean, the team will be looking and saying, it's okay. It's okay if we don't get back. That just means that the youngsters at the top are doing a great job. And Rahul Tripathi, I know that Venkatesh Iyer has got a lot of press because it's just such an amazing case. He comes out of the blue and obviously catches your fancy, chartered accountant, would have had a job at Deloitte, etc. It's a great story. But Rahul Tripathi in that previous game, geez, he was in some sublime touch. So showing the intent and the execution as well. So things are looking good for a very solid clash tomorrow. All right, let's have a look at the second game, because these are, while we have the Chennai Express and Kolkata Mail both chugging along nicely, here are 2 trains that were running smoothly, but just seem to have run a bit of a rough patch here, both Bangalore and Mumbai. Let's speak about Mumbai first, and let's get Shaun Pollock in to speak about Mumbai. They need Hardik. Polly, you've been part of this setup. Why no clear communication? Why nobody tell us? Why? Why keep the secret?
There needs to be an element of mystery just to keep you all guessing,
We're getting that from Varun Chakravarti. We don't need it from Hardik.
No, but I think the key for them is just to get those guys back in, get Rohit back in, get Hardik Pandya back in at some stage and get them firing. And then also get back to the winning ways.
Rohit did play the last game. So Rohit did play the last game, but Hardik didn't. So Hardik's missed 2 now.
But I think you look at that team and you think, it's got most bases covered. It's got a lot of strength. You can see match winners, and that tends to be the case. Even when Pommie's looking at the table and saying, which 2 teams do you come through? The reason why you say Mumbai is because they know how to win. They've shown it before, and that's an art that's hard to be learned, at times. And then also they've got match winners. It's not just, well, if Pollard has a great day, then they win. I mean, you've got Rohit, you've got Quinton, you've got Pollard, you've got bowlers who can win you games. So
don't forget Sky and Ishan, both of them.
Yeah, I mean, those young guys who come in and play a little bit fiercely, but all of them. Surya Kumar, I mean, he was in great touch, but he's had 2 average games where he's gone nowhere in a hurry. Ishan Kishan hasn't been at his best. Rohit hasn't kicked into gear. So it will be a concern. And that's why I think for them, I think it's a bigger game than it is for Royal Challengers. Royal Challengers sitting on 10 points. If they lose, not ideal, but it's not a train smash. Whereas if Mumbai lose, then you've got the Royal Challengers going up to 12 points. All of a sudden, it really does become challenging. But the key for them is to try and get a result as soon as they can, but more importantly, to get all those guys firing. Because if they do, invariably, they're going to win probably 4 out of 6.
I'll tell you what the problem is.
I tend to think that Mumbai, even if they just scrape through, right? So they're the one team where if you're sitting up top and you are CSK and you are Delhi Capitals, you want a case where Mumbai just gets knocked out, because if they don't and they just sneak through somehow, they're 4th on net run rate. And then you got to play them in the first eliminator or second one or whatever. They're the side can beat you, because they've got, like Shaun says, they've got this side that if you turn up and it's like one-off game, they're pretty good. They've been there before, and they can do it again. They can suddenly turn it on. So they won't be worried. But if they don't win again tomorrow, they might just, whoopsie.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. It could be a whoopsie moment for them completely.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the Bangalore team and see what they can do, because there again, it's seeming like, I mean, they made a few changes last time. Looking at the surface, where do you see their team? Because they're again playing. I mean, there's Mumbai there who's set, right? If Hardik Pandya comes in, he comes in for Saurabh Tiwari. It's a straight swap. You know, they may play Nathan Coulter-Nile for Adam Milne. They may not. Doesn't matter. Here there's the combination. It just seems like this combination is not entirely settled. Is that fair to say, Polly, after these first two games?
I think for me, three names come to mind. And if you look at their performance, the reason they got off to such a flyer was Maxwell and de Villiers. I think those two were in fine form at the start of the tournament. They aren't quite there anymore. I mean, AB plays not that much cricket these days, so sometimes it does take him a while to get into the tournament. And it's not always easy, later on in your career, just to not play for 2 or 3 months and then just pick it up and try and find that rhythm. Because it is, T20 cricket's about rhythm. You have to quickly get into it. Maxwell, he needs to start firing again. And then Chahal has been the one. He's been lacking confidence for a while now. Selection-wise, he's been left out. He's not making squads. He's had a bit of a difficult period in his career, where he used to be their banker. I mean, we always used to say how he is the most important player in their bowling department, because he always used to bowl the 4. He always used to bowl in the middle. He used to bring the run rate down. He used to pick up the wickets. And he was Ronnie reliable, That's where they always used to go. And on a difficult ground at Chinnaswamy, it's where it's a bit of a chip and a putt. But he's lost that confidence, which happens to everyone. So I think those three players.
Shaun, I wonder, Shaun, how do you put your kind of the proverbial arm around the shoulder for a spinner in 2020s? I mean, and I say this because I just think it kind of needs some love, I genuinely do. With all you're describing, and you think about last season, go a little bit, and come into this season, not take the wickets as we expect and as has become customary. So he starts to question it in his own head. Then you don't get selected. You go from being number 1 spinner in the Indian side, well, in the RCB side and in the Indian side, to not being number 1. And it's a lonely place, but you can't really hold his hand or put your arm around him because he's a spinner. Now, but how do you shepherd a guy through that?
Yeah, I think there's two things that they can maybe do, and it's one, firstly, who's got a relationship with him? Who's got a relationship just to sit down and say, where are you? Tell us where you're at, because we know every one of us loses confidence. Every one of us can feel under pressure at times. So I think that's the first thing. And then your other point is so valid when you touch on the point that when it's been the hard situations, they've thrown him the ball in the years gone by. It's not like you're trying to protect him, but I think you need to go through 2 or 3 games where you can maybe protect him. You pick up 2 wickets and you say, okay, in you come. Let's give us an over, get your confidence going for the day when they're not going to go after you, and then you take you out. And maybe just 2 or 3 matches where you just look after him a touch, just try and get that little build-up confidence. And then also have a chat in and around to your senior players and say, come on, guys, let's build him up again. Let's start talking about those games he won for us. Let's just find things that maybe make him feel a little bit more confident. So you have to be a psychologist behind the scenes sometimes, because players are humans. They do have those emotions.
That is a very, very interesting insight. And you do that with players, and players definitely who've done so much for you and just feel are kind of rounding off a bit. Well, love it. Well, you can make your team as well. We're not telling you who's going to make your team and who's not. It's up to you. You select, you decide. You do it on my11circle.com. You go to the website, of course. You download the app, and then you choose. There's 2 games happening tomorrow. So you got to, play twice, make your team. And if you can win the prize, of course, 5 crores. That's the big one. That's the first prize that you win. 2 games tomorrow, as I said. There's Mumbai playing Bangalore in the second game and Chennai playing Kolkata in the first game. So that's what's happening tomorrow. And if Dada tells you you're going to win that, you are going to win that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. Well, is that it? Is that business? Oh, no. The joy factor question. Jeez, how could I forget that? Yeah.
What was that? Yeah.
Forget that. Let's bring the question up for all of you and relive the trauma of the question that the good professor sent. This event has happened just twice in Test cricket history. The second time was in Karachi in 2019. When was the first time and what was the event? We're not even attempting.
How vague is that? How vague is that? Like, was I wrong to say that's vague? Like, wow.
He does it.
I don't know.
He does this. He does this so that you cannot Google or Bing the answer. Yeah, that you can't search it. When is the last time someone said Bing in a conversation? Even Microsoft is smarter about it. Wow. All right, let's have a look at what the answer is, because we've got our very own Professor Bing. Dhaka 2007, India versus Bangladesh. The top 4 batsmen all scoring centuries. Ooh, interesting. India did it, I'm guessing, right? Not Bangladesh? India did it. Yeah? Just guessing. I don't remember this game.
Dhaka 2007.
Yeah. I'm guessing it was not the top 4 Bangladesh batters who got hundreds. Was it? Just got to find this out. He's not giving us complete information today. I'm telling you something, Joy, if you're listening, you phoned this one in, big brother. You really phoned this one in.
He was in a rush, yeah. He was in a rush. He had to get to breakfast.
No, it was Viru, I think it was Viru, Dravid, Tendulkar, Karthik Jaffer. Oh, that was Dinesh Karthik. Dinesh Karthik's done that as well. He's opened for India back in 2007 in a test match. Yeah. Wasim Jaffer, and Dravid and Tendulkar. So there's the 4 of them. So there's the 4 of them.
And then the Pakistanis, I think, and then was a second innings one, that one actually. I remember that.
In 2019 in Karachi.
Yeah, second innings hundreds they might have got, actually, because they were bowled out cheaply by Sri Lanka.
I'm just very grateful I never had to experience all 4 top order batsmen getting 100 against me. Thank goodness for that.
That's a plug for yourself, that.
You wouldn't have minded experiencing that from the dressing room, though, if your team was doing it.
Well, funny enough, when my second daughter was born and I went to Sri Lanka, I arrived there halfway through a test match where Mahala and Sangakkara put on about 700. So I did watch that from the dressing room.
Well, we've got our director who sent in the word saying Masood, Babar Azam, Abid Ali, and Azhar Ali. They were the 4 who got it for Pakistan. So thank you so much for that, Shirish, for that piece of information that has helped us not at all close to midnight on this long Saturday. It's not helped us at all. We're just trying to this was Joy's job. Joy, you had one job. You had to give us all this trivia so we could all seem really smart and tell people. But now, with you phoning it in like this, you made us look bad. You made the team look bad, brother. That's what you've done. I'll take this up with him again tomorrow. But let's see who the winner is.
There's no joy in team.
There's no joy in team. Tanmo, wait a second. Hang on. This is the same guy who won it yesterday. I'm convinced that this is Joy himself with another handle that he has. There's no cash prizes. Why are you doing this? No, it's Tanmoy, congratulations. That was a really, really bizarre, obscure, left field kind of question. And for you to get the correct answer in first, well done, young man. We give you a big round of applause. We would have given you a little more, but we're just keeping it. So that's all. We are going to get out of here now. We're going to be here tomorrow. 2 games again, remember? So we're going to be here at 2:50 p.m. Indian Standard Time. That's when we come here in English as well as in Hindi. So you can watch the show in the language of your choice. You can watch both back to back, one after the other. You can save this one. You can bookmark it, watch it later, because sometimes things are just so enjoyable. Yes, they are. I'd like to thank Shaun, Pollock, and Pommie and Mbangwa. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
All good.
You're most welcome.
And hopefully we'll see you down the road here on Cricbuzz Live. And all of you, we'll see you tomorrow here on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partners, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. It's been a long day. It's a longer one tomorrow, but they're joyous when they're full of cricket. Did I say joy? Good night.